We're at Old Fort Niagara. Dueling cannons.
Bombard Fort George with hot cannonballs. With hot poo. I'm gonna take a picture of that building.
No pets.
30, please. Thank you very much. Out of 30. Come back.
Is there any tour guides over there?
We do have some soldiers down there, I believe, that are doing musket demonstrations on the hour so they can answer any questions, but it's pretty much a self-guided tour right now.
Okay, great.
Reminds me of Matt.
And your ticket, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Check dial points.
You wouldn't want to get hit in the head with that.
Yeah, getting a big knot. Look, there's Lake Erie.
Imagine cutting down a tree with this.
Oof.
Well, that's a nice picture.
Yeah.
Like that.
Look at those feet.
They're for swimming.
Dang.
Look, the Indians, the English have no sense. They gave us 20 knives like this for one beaver skin. They had big hats back then. The barrel that long, I bet they could shoot pretty far. They had to keep digging their way closer to the fort. Trenches.
Material.
Has big stains on it. birch bark and a wood canoe. Looks like
Ooh, cool. Looks like a drawbridge.
They shot out of those V's there. I wonder if they filled this up with water.
Like a moat?
Yeah. They could put like alligators in there.
Look at the rocks that lower.
They had heavy duty doors back then. Look at this. This is waiting for the drawbridge or something.
No, I think that's how they open and close the doors.
No.
No?
That used to be for the drawbridge or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Here's the second gate.
Look at it move.
Why do I have to move? Look, there's a mortar. See it? Oh, here's where they cut their spare cannons. I had enough of them. There's the outhouse in case you need to go. Oh, that's a fireplace. Workbench. $16.78.
One of the most formidable fortresses in the 18th century.
It is a button to press the research.
The design of the enlarged fort and the power magazine itself was based on European models, while many powder magazines in North America were constructed at least partially underground. Fort Niagara's new magazine was built entirely above ground to lessen the chance of the gunpowder becoming damp and less effective. If you compare the size of the building when viewed from the outside with the size of the interior, you will realize that the stone walls of the magazine are about 4 feet thick.
That's a huge cannon right there.
At this time, there'll be a musket firing at the drink aid. For number 6, that's right over here. Once again, there'll be a musket firing at the drink aid at the French powder magazine. Things will go boom, and you will like it. That yell was kind of futile. No one else is jumping out of their seats, so I'll begin. Alright, so today I am dressed as a French Marine. The French were here from 1726 to 1759, and they start with that building right over there, the French castle. So all that stone in that building, or for the most part, is original. So that means since it was put there in 1726, that's not only the oldest still standing building on the Great Lakes, but it's also 6 years older than George Washington. So that's how old it really, really is. So anyway, going over the uniform just real quick from head to toe. This ridiculous looking hat that I'm wearing on top of my head, and I cannot stress this enough, is not called the pirate hat. Alright, the pirate's fish is cool. Alright, that was called a cocked hat. Reason being it's cocked about 3 sides. And really all it does for me is in the summer it gives me a very interesting tan line. But really the purpose of this hat is to make you look good. So it's just a fashion item, it's not very practical. Going on, I'm wearing 2 wool coats. Which is very nice on a day like today, but if you come back in July, same uniform, but a much different demeanor. Right? Because I can honestly say from a first-hand perspective that this uniform in July really seals in the flavor. Alright, so underneath that I'm wearing wool knee breeches, I'm wearing canvas gaiters that protect my legs from anything I'm walking through. And last but not least, the most uncomfortable thing I think I'm wearing, in my opinion, is my shoes, because in the 18th century you don't get one that's left and one that's right, you get 2 straight shoes, and you have to wear them until they form your feet, which makes me a masochist, and I really like my job. Alright, the other thing I forgot to mention, the white coat. Now you're probably thinking wearing white on a battlefield, or more notoriously for those English pig dogs on the other side wearing red on the battlefield. That sounds pretty dumb, doesn't it? Alright, well today it would be. In the 18th century, however, it's a little different. When I shoot this thing, not only does a bullet come out, but what else?
Gunpowder.
Comes what?
Gunpowder.
Which, well, gunpowder will come out in a certain form of smoke. Thank you. A lot of smoke on the battlefield. So, on that very smoky battlefield where it's hard to see who's going to be more dangerous, the enemy 300 yards in front of you or your friends 10 feet behind you. It's going to be your friends. So these bright colors are actually a good idea in the 18th century, so you get to see who you're supposed to shoot at, but more importantly, who you're not supposed to shoot at. Alright, now this is the only part of this demonstration where you're going to actually hear me compliment the British for anything. Alright, so going on, speaking of which, to the fun part. Here's the boomstick, or more formally known as the smoothbore flintlock musket. And the range on this, believe it or not, yes, you can hit the broadside of a barn with a musket. Don't believe the movies when they tell you otherwise. This has a range of about 100 yards. And if you're a well-trained soldier, you can load this in about 15 seconds. So how it's going to work is when I pull the trigger, hopefully this piece, right, your collicien, which means a dog in French, is going to be thrown forward. Hopefully this piece of flint is going to hit this piece of steel, and hopefully that's going to generate some sparks. Hopefully the sparks are going to land on top of some black powder I'm going to put in this pan here, and hopefully that's going to explode. And hopefully that small explosion will then travel through a small touch hole and hopefully ignite even more black powder at the bottom of the barrel here. And hopefully the explosion inside the barrel will create enough pressure to hopefully send that round lead 60 caliber musket ball out, hopefully into said English pig dog. Alright, now I just used one word quite a bit in that explanation, and that word was what? Hopefully. A lot of hopefullys. I did that on purpose, and we'll get to that part a little bit later. So, first thing I have to do is grab a cartridge out of my cartridge box. This is just a paper tube full of black powder, and there would be a musket ball right about here where my pinky is in the 18th century. However, today, you have all been very well behaved. Just kidding, the insurance company in New York State aren't too fond of us killing our visitors. So no musket ball, but it will still go boom, so don't be discouraged. Now, normally in the 18th century, you would open doing this avec les dents with your teeth, which means they recommended, not required, but recommended you had at least 4 good teeth in your mouth to join the military. But today, since we have COVID, I can't do that. They didn't have COVID back then. They only had things like, smallpox and cholera.
Yeah, a lot worse.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour just a little bit of black powder into the ball. And dump the rest of the cartridge with what would be that musket ball down to the bottom of the barrel. And I'm going to ram that down with my rammer. Now this is not called a rammer in French, because that's a very English word. They call these le baguette. Don't eat this baguette. It does not taste very good. Baguette just means rod, not bread in French. So here's very part of the reloading process, which you just witnessed. I took the rammer out of the barrel. If I didn't do that, I have just created a 3-foot steel javelin of death flying across the battlefield if I powder down the barrel. And if I got really lucky, I would turn yet again that English pig dog into a shish kebab. Sounds good for me as a Frenchman. The problem is he's not going to dig the only way I have to load my weapon out of his chest, flip across the battlefield, dodging the musket balls and the artillery shells, and hand it back to me and say, "Here you go, chap, I think you lost something." Since that's not going to happen, I can't reload, and if that's the case, I've just turned my very lovely musket into a very expensive stick. Alright, so, this is where the hopefullies come in. The gun doesn't really like to go off in weather conditions. It doesn't like to go off in the sleet, the snow, the hail, the rain, too hot, too cold, too windy, too foggy, too muggy, and Wednesdays aren't real good either. So with that being said, even on a fairly nice day, it might not go off on the first try. So don't have to be too hard until at least this far. Alright, so, hopefully here goes.
Oh, worked.
Alright. So all that worked just for one shot. Now, again, 15 seconds. That sounds like a long time, I know. But here's the thing. It's not just going to be me shooting. It's going to be me and, let's say, 100 other guys shooting all at the same thing at the same time. So we don't have machine guns, but if you line up these 100 guys and tell them all to shoot the same thing at the same time, you now have yourself an 18th century rapid-fire machine gun every 15 seconds. So really...
This looks like a giant oven. Right there's a door to it.
Oh, it is an oven.
It looks like a little hole though for an oven.
I don't know.
That must be the Niagara River right there, flowing out in the lake. This is their garden. Oh, nice. Looks like a kitchen with 2 fireplaces. That's what it looks like. Some hard bread.
Yeah. So they eat.
It's the oldest building right here.
Oh. Wow. That's a bed.
Oh, so comfy.
Wow. It's a little one.
It's our hotel for like $1 million. You know that?
Oh, they had like a well in here or something. Yeah, that's a well. It goes way down there. Wow. Dining room for the officers. You got 2 fireplaces, one on either end. Look at these chairs. They're cool. I wonder if they're original.
They look super old.
Yeah. Commander's quarters. dining room, looks like. This looks like the general store.
Yeah.
Got all the goods in here. Beaver skins. Oh, they're soft. Feel the beaver, it's soft. I like the tomahawks. Fox. Raccoons. This looks like an elk right here.
Somebody slept in here. So if you need socks, hats, shoes,
Furs.
neat.
Storekeeper even probably slept in
They
here.
even have like that canoe.
I bet you he slept in here.
What's this, a well?
Going upstairs. These look like the original steps.
Opening. Finance.
What? Finance? Someone just talks at random.
Oh, the church is up here.
Oh, they have a chapel.
Yeah. No benches though. Got a fireplace. Wow. Pretty nice.
Take a picture.
We're free to augment the meager rations
Soldiers
by
slept up
providing
here, looks like.
unoptimized game.
Wow. Cool.
Bienvenue à la salle supérieure du garde du corps.
Oh no, I pressed the wrong button.
Qui y habitait au début des années
Oh, it's too late. It's on French now.
des compagnies indépendantes de la marine. La compagnie franche de la marine. La petite garnison, composée de 30 à 40 hommes, protégeait les intérêts français dans la région de Niagara, y compris le commerce de fourrure, au cours duquel il y avait beaucoup de concurrence. La plupart des construits sont venus où ils étaient invités pour
Storage room. Look at a little kid's room.
Carpentry.
Woodworking room.
Welcome to the Commandant's quarters as they appeared in the early 1750s. The Commandant was usually a captain in La Compagnie Franche de la Marine, the French colonial infantry. He was responsible for defending the fort against
Look at that
attack,
little bed.
negotiating with Native
Must have been a
Americans,
short guy.
supervising the fur
Yeah.
trade, and
My
maintaining
legs
the
would hang
condition
off
of
the
fortress
side.
and its garrison. At Niagara, he also had to oversee the condition of the portage road around Niagara Falls. Officers were usually drawn from the Canadian gentry and often followed their father.
Going up higher. It's probably the attic. Oh, looks like a big hall or something. Wow. This is cool. Giant dance floor up here. But look, they had slots where you could shoot out of from up here. See those? You hang out a rifle barrel out at that hole. that oven outside was for heating up their cannonballs. So you make them real hot and shoot them out over there. Hot shot.
That's what it is.
Yep. Cherry red, they heat them up. So whoever got shot with them wouldn't want to touch with the cannonballs over there. Oh, they started fires. Wow.
Problems at that time, so sleeping at that angle was to their advantage. They would have sacks like you saw in the upper right hand that basically they would sleep on, but there would be about, depending on the size of the garrison, 20 to 30 is right in there.
Yeah, so that there's this whole big place where it's tipped and they could all just
there was no social distancing.
No.
The feet down or the feet up? Feet down. Feet down. Feet down.
So there's some bunk beds that look like then the two heads would be together and the feet down, because it slants like that way.
Yeah, they believe their heads should be elevated.
Okay.
Just like they believe smoking was good,
Right.
and it enriched the mind at that time.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they started smoking very, very young, and the French were very generous when they're with their ration. They tried to provide them with tobacco and stuff like that. Partly because tobacco is hunger suppression, so you're not as hungry. So they tried to provide that. Because food was always a problem there, always.
I can't believe they heated up their bullets in that oven over there.
Not bullets, cannonballs.
Yeah, red hot.
That was built in 1840. Basically, that particular wall was built in 1839 because there was some uprising taking place in Canada, and they worried about it spilling over. It never happened. So they built that. It was never needed. So there was no battle there. But hot shot was a very common thing, but they used whatever they had at that time. They've used the bakehouse, the fireplaces in the bakery, the ovens to heat stuff up along the way. Like when they were having the battle with Fort George, the roof was removed off of this, and they were heating in the various fireplaces the cannonballs and carrying them up. That was more of a mechanical process. You put it in, and it went through a little maze coming down. By the time it came out, it was red hot. You catch it in a leg, load it into the cannon up there.
Okay.
So they used hot shot a lot.
Yeah.
They did not have exploding shells as we know them today until basically the Civil War time period, where they would explode upon concussion. They had canisters that when they hit, they broke apart and things went flying. They didn't explode. Okay. So there's a difference. They had mortar bombs at the time, but those had a fuse on it, and they flew, and the fuse caused it to blow up. Ideally, if you did it right, about head chest level.
And then grape shot.
Grape shot, yes. You want a really good example there. Unfortunately, I can't take you in there, but if you go up on the wall, the brick structure, that's Civil War time period stuff. That was built believing that the Canadians...
Well, I had to leave that guy, even though he knew answers to everything, because it's cold today. So we're over here in this, I don't know, it's like guard tower or something. Everyone was short back then. What's up there? Just a floor? This is the top of the tower. The floor slants down that way, so when the cannon shoots back, it'll fly forward again. That's where they shot their cannons out of.